But speaking of like Atlanta sports and the Falcons, it pains me in my soul to say this, but as the football fan in me, I I'm I feel so bad for y'all dealing with this incompetence. Like y'all drafted a running back 8th overall, Bijan Robinson, one of the best prospects we've seen at the position in a hot minute. And y'all not even fucking using him right. And Arthur Smith is like this offensive guy. He made Ryan Tannehill look really good in Tennessee. Are y'all not fed up with that shit yet? Like, cause it irks my soul the way he is just toting out Jonnu Smith and he's featuring him more than he's featuring Kyle Pitts and Bijan Robinson. Y'all got to be pissed over there.
I will say John Smith has done the job. John Smith has been doing well. I wish Cal Pitts was showing the same, yeah, showing that same stuff that John Smith is showing, which makes me think maybe there is an injury issue with Pitts, which that's freaking terrible. Um, on Bijan Robinson, since the whole headache game where he wasn't on the injury list, but he only had one snap at the end of the game, he doesn't seem to be the same since that game. So yes, it's very frustrating that two of the first round picks we had in the last 3 years aren't being featured. Drake London was getting some like receptions, some good receptions, and then he went and got hurt. Um, so yeah, I'm not one who's going to retroactively say that, oh, we shouldn't have drafted such and such or whatever, because I had my wish list going into the draft each time, and then when they drafted whomever they drafted, I was like, yeah, okay, I'm fine with it. So I'm not gonna now go back and say no, that was definitely the wrong draft. I said they should have drafted whoever is like the best player from that draft. Now, that's not me. But what's your take on the drafts and how they're being used?
So I was. You remember we were live when we drafted Kyle Pitts.
Yes,
Well, not live, but we were recording,
we were
and,
recording live.
and I was underwhelmed with the Kyle Pitts one.
Hmm.
Right. Then when I saw that we were going to drag London, I was like, all right, cool. We need a wide receiver, so let's go for it. Right. I was actually extremely excited about the game. I
You were
really was.
excited?
I was excited
Okay.
because I was like, okay, you got an offensive-minded head coach. We've spent all this money on the defense, right? So that means the defense is yeah. We still obviously there's still some pieces, but you can't have everything. So the defense. I was like the defense, and of course it's been proven that the defense is really solid,
Hmm.
right? So before that, I was like, all right, we're about to have an offensive-minded coach. He's going to draft this guy. He's going to be able to. He's going to have some fun playthings, right? And honestly, I don't mind you not using all of your number because I hate when people are like, well, you drafted him number 4 overall, but blah blah blah. But he's not. You're not using him. I was like, okay, that's cool. But guess what? Brock Purdy was drafted last, and you're using him on every snap in the offense. And San Francisco's winning. But now that they're losing, now it's a problem, right? So
Hmm.
it's good until you're losing. So I don't care if you're using the product whichever way you want to do if you're winning. But since they're losing, the problem isn't the is now it's the play calling. That's the
Yes.
problem. I don't care
100%.
about I don't care about you using because if John Smith gets to eat, awesome.
Yeah.
John Smith gets to eat,
John
right?
Smith is delivering.
Right.
You know.
And I was excited when they had what's his name? What's the other tight
Oh,
end that we
Jair.
have?
Oh, tight end. Hurst.
Michael Pruitt. When we got Michael Pruitt back,
Oh,
when they
Pruitt.
signed
Pruitt.
him,
Yes.
I liked him. I liked it because I was like, that guy is dependable, right? You can
Right.
depend on him. That's why I was disappointed when who did we get rid of? Zacchaeus.
Yeah.
Remember Zacchaeus? I was so upset that we lost him because
Yeah.
that guy was dependable.
Yeah.
I
And
guess the point I'm trying to make is like there is no world where Tyler Algier is better than Bijan Robinson.
no,
But
but the thing is though, if Tyler Algier is eating, you feed him. And Tyler
Yeah,
Algier
but
has been
like
eating.
but
no,
again,
but
I'm not
easily.
I'm not questioning the pick. Bijan Robinson, like I know people say, "Oh, you don't draft a running back in the first round." I think that's bull
Why
crap.
wouldn't
Like
you?
I
Yeah.
think I think you can draft a good running back in the first round. Like the collective bargaining agreement kind of has it to where it's you should do it.
That's
You
what
know,
I think. Me and you agreeing because I'm like,
yeah,
now you have a running
you have
back on
5 years
a 5th
before
year
you really
option.
have to pay
Exactly.
them. Yeah.
Because the thing is, Algier, if Algier is doing now, if this probably gets thrown out because there's still what? There's still how many games left?
Yeah,
10.
yeah, there's time to fix it. But my thing is Bijan in his limited role, whatever you want to call it, is explosive. He makes shit happen. And to your point, Zeus, the play calling's not been great. But like, you mean to tell me you got the ball at the 1 yard line, you're not gonna hand it off to him
Yeah,
once or like call a
Right.
but
play
like
for
you
him?
said, it's the play
But
calling.
that's play calling.
And what needs to happen
Yeah,
is
but
the biggest thing that I'm going to do is if
I'm
Arthur
not
Smith.
questioning the draft pick, so I just want to make sure that's clear.
Oh, gotcha.
I'm just
Yeah,
saying you guys have to be upset at the
that we're not
fact
as
that Arthur
explosive as we
Smith is
should
an
be.
offensive
Yeah,
minded coach.
no, I agree with you.
He
I
has
But
agree
this
with you.
plethora of first round pick weapons. You just named all three: London, Pitts, Robinson, and they're not. None of them are being featured.
so quick thing on that. And by the way, Zeus, it's 8 games left. Um, the quick thing, easy. Um, where you said there's no world in which Algier is better than Robinson. I think week 1 or week 2 was probably no week 1 was probably where we saw them both at like their peak. No one is injured, no one is hampered or whatever. I
Mm.
think Robinson is a lot more dynamic. I think he's able to get to where he needs to get to, doing a plethora of moves. Doing the juke back or whatever. Yeah, yeah. He's wriggly and he'll get to where he needs to get to. Um, Algier is your more downhill type of runner, and both give you something to take away from it. But Algier, I feel like most times should give you at least 2 yards, if not six. You know,
And
so
he has a role on the team. Like he showed you last year. To your point, he can be the bell cow. He can handle a full workload.
yes.
But Bijan's just like he's just as big as Algier. He's two something.
Yeah, yeah. So to the thing I was saying. So week 1, you could tell that okay, this is what they have. And I was saying, I think Bijan hasn't been the same since that game that he was supposedly dealing with a headache or whatever. Because this last game, the game yesterday, I think the numbers and someone can fact check me on this. I think Bijan had about as many carries as Algier, if not more, but Algier was more effective. So it's not a matter of they're not giving Bijan the ball or they're not using him. They're using him. Bijan is just not hitting the hole as he was doing before. He's not finding the seams as he was doing before. Algier is still
Who
doing
throw
what
him the
he needs
ball?
to do. No, but something is clearly not where it used to be with
Well,
Bijan.
yeah. I mean, to be fair, you watch a lot more Falcons games than I do, but I just, I look at the box score, or I'll see some clips on Twitter, and I'm like, this ain't adding up. This don't make sense.
Yeah,
Like
The
even if Algier is the downhill guy, why
I
don't
think that
you put him in the Alvin Kamara role? Where
easy. I
he's
think the
like,
problem that you're seeing, which is understandable, is the fact is you have all these players that obviously this offense should be fucking explosive. I'm talking about blowing the top off type of plays, and we're not getting that. Now that can fall to the quarterback, obviously, but honestly, Desmond Ritter even showed flashes where he can do that. Where he could throw like he can have a cannon. It's just the problem is the accuracy, but you should be able to coach that, right? The problem I think is Arthur Smith has to let go of the play calling. He needs to. I've been saying he needs to at least give because then it'll save his job, right? Give somebody he can pull a Dan Quinn to have somebody throw under the bus if it doesn't work out in the end, and have Ragon do the play calling because he's your offensive corner. Go ahead and do him. This isn't like Andy Reid where Andy Reid does the play calling and the team is freaking winning, right? And then so BME has to go to Washington to be able to be able to do play calling himself because obviously that's what he feels he needs to do in order, I think, to get a head coaching position. Ragon has to be given that opportunity because Arthur Smith, you're not doing it right. If
yeah.
honestly, the question I would ask if I was the media was Arthur Smith, if this was an offensive coordinator that's not you doing these play callings, would you be satisfied with the play calling?
Yeah.
and you wouldn't be, because if he does, then there's a problem. And if you're not, what would you do in that situation? More than likely, best case scenario, demote him. Worst case scenario,
Fire.
fire him.
Mm-hmm.
So Arthur Smith's got to have that call with himself. He has to have that conversation with himself.
I thought last week was bad. Yesterday was atrocious. And here's why. So the defense did such a fantastic job yesterday, by the way. I know you see that Minnesota scored 31 and you think, oh, defense didn't do well. Defense did amazing. So we get the ball, we drive, we don't drive too much in the first series. We end up punting. Defense stops Minnesota 3-and-out. They punt. We get the ball. We drive all the way down to Minnesota territory, and then all of a sudden forget how to play football. We score a field goal. Then the next one, Minnesota, they drive 74 yards. They score a field goal because their quarterback gets a concussion, which is why they brought in Dubs. Then we get the ball. We drive into their territory, forget how to play football again, field goal. Then we get a safety, get the ball back, get to their territory again, forget how to play football again, field goal. The one that pissed me off was when they fumbled after that one. Our big guy on the D line picks up the ball and he's taking it, almost takes it all the way in, but it gets tackled at the 1 yard. We start 1st and goal at the 1 yard and somehow came away with only 3 points from that drive. Because
what's those mosh pit runs? That's what I like to call them, where you run in like it's a mosh pit. Like you don't even have any space to run through anybody. It's just, like, literally running into the wall.
The back of
but like on Twitter, if I'm not mistaken, I don't know how accurate Twitter was, but they listed out the play calling to that possession you're talking about, and I saw something that said an end around to Jonnu Smith, and I'm like, there's no way they ran that at the 1 yard line.
They did.
Yeah, they did.
I think that was actually worse than when what was his name? Sarkisian ran. Didn't he do the same thing with the Patriots? Remember that game that we went right after the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
The same thing. It was just, I think it was worse.
Let me kick it to M16 real quick. Did you have anything you want to add? I know we're past bedtime and such.
He said bedtime. As far as like Falcon talk, I got really not much on that. My brother and I differ. He seems to be the sympathetic brother where he's like, oh, Sean Payton, I'm forever grateful.
I just wanted to hear them go off about Arthur Smith. Let's be clear.
I think he should be fired. I'm not one that.
Yeah, I was expecting some kind of tangent, because if you just look at Twitter, you would think, Falcons fans are in shambles. So I was trying to get it from the source here, but we
didn't give you what you wanted. No,
they're nuanced with their. This is what happens when you temper your expectations. See, with Debo, he was hollering all that Super Bowl nonsense. You see, Zeno and Zeus their expectations are tempered. They were just like a competitive team. They know what time it is, so this stuff doesn't surprise them because they are, patient with what's going on here. They're realistic.
That loss yesterday was bad.
That was really
bad loss.
There's no scenario in which that should have happened.
But see, this is the thing that the reason why like 16 you said tempered my expectations is the thing that I look back at is 2017. I wasn't on Twitter then, but remember similar records at that point, and then there was a turnaround, and this was back when it was 6 seeds, not 7 seeds, right? Obviously, a 7 in the NFC South, if that team the teams that don't win the division more than likely are not going to the playoffs. That's just how. They're
probably going to be sub 500 teams.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think there'll be any teams that, even if they're 500, I don't think that. Well, they can't be, right? Not anymore, or unless they tie.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't think even a 9-8 team. I just think there's way too many other teams in other divisions. Because look at Minnesota. Minnesota is starting to make an argument that they could be a wild card team, right? Yeah. And then you still have San Francisco and Seattle, and then you still have Dallas and the Eagles are going to go in the playoffs. The question is who's going to be the division. So that's 2, right? And then, like I said, Minnesota is making an argument. Detroit obviously is probably running away with that division, but then there's 4, and then now they have the tiebreaker against us. Minnesota does, because they beat us, right? Hell, I don't think it's gonna happen. We'll say Washington decides to try to start playing a little bit of football now that
That's the
I
thing
don't
about
think it's gonna
football.
happen.
But
Yeah.
You never
both
know.
of them are above us. Minnesota's a game ahead of us, and Washington is tied with us and is above us because they beat us.
Is a tiebreaker. Yeah, they got the
Yeah.
tiebreaker. So that's what I'm saying. Like, so in the division, I don't see a non-division winner going to. But the thing is though, this division is still open. It is. It's still open, right? Because I don't know how much do you guys as Saints fan trust Dennis Allen.
Well,
But
to be fair, I mean, I don't want to, corrode your airways. Me or 16 corrode your airways with our thoughts on Dennis Allen. Because
okay, that's all you got to say.
Yeah.
So
Hey,
that's what I'm saying. Like,
it's
so
shared airspace, and we all breathe it. Let's hear it.
Yes.
16, I'll let you go first.
I'm gonna just keep it short and sweet. Fire everybody. That's all I got to say. Fire everybody.
Yeah, I thought the Dennis. I mean, 16. What did I tell you when we went with Dennis Allen? I said it's lazy. I said that's a lazy hire.
It
There's
was
some other folks
continuing.
out there
Which
we
relieves
look
me.
at.
Which
you say the
which
same things all the time.
which
That's
leads-
It's
exactly
lazy,
the first
bro.
word I
which
said.
leads me right back to me wishing demise on Sean Payton because all he had to do was stick around. But I'm gonna save that for another day. There will be other episodes of ZZ Talk that we can discuss that. But I concede my microphone time, Zeno. I'm gonna just hand it back to you.
Before we
Fire
wrap
everybody.
this up, though, I will say, easy. That's the exact same thing I said. I was like, that is so lazy, which doesn't make sense to me because the
So
fact of the
lazy.
matter is, like y'all said, Sean Payton elevated New Orleans to a point. It would have been an attractive sight. It would have been an attractive thing. But maybe they thought nobody will want to come to this cap issue. Obviously, Terry Funk
No,
decided
it
to
was
come into
it was just lazy. It was like, oh well, Sean's leaving us, and he's saying this guy's gonna be okay. He did a good job as a D coordinator. We don't want to rattle things up. We're already shooketh because he's through this surprise retirement on us. We're just gonna keep everything as is, and it's lazy. Like, I think the thing with Dan Campbell. Had we known Sean Payton was about to leave, we would have just kept Dan Campbell and used him as our coach. But now he's in Detroit doing what I thought he was going to do anyway,
killing it.
Yeah.
which
He's
is
going to
be
be
a
the
good head
first.
coach.
Oh, I mean, I said it before the season started. Detroit is going to win their very first division title with this man,
Man
and
Campbell.
and they're probably going to own that division for a while. Honestly, now that
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers is gone. So,
Yeah,
but
man.
Zeno, obviously we don't have time to talk politics. I know we do heavy, but let's be honest. The last few episodes of our show have been a slight dose of politics, and today is going to be no dose of politics. But I think it's perfect for us to wrap it up, shitting on the Saints. I think that's a perfect way for us to end our
Now, don't get it twisted. The first place Saints, but go ahead, please.
yeah.
Now, hey, if we would have shit the bed like yesterday against the Bears against the undrafted rookie quarterback, then you could have had a field day with us. But Josh Dobbs with what, a day and a half of practice?
It's cool. He's a 6-year veteran.
Man,
no,
man.
He's a 6-year veteran.
This is his third team this year.
Don't matter.
Listen, sir.
This is his third team this year.
He
man.
has the spirit of Jada Pinkett Smith with the Appalachia. What's it called?
Alopecia.
Alopecia. Carried him. Okay, keep his name out your mouth.
Man, look. Josh Dobbs is a brother. Respect the black QBs. Got a little small place in my heart for them. He had no business doing what he did yesterday against y'all. Like,
Levis had no business doing what he did against us, but he did. It's just that's the reason why I was kind of a little bit.
Well, at least Will Levis got a full week of practice. At least Will Levis has been with the team since the draft.
Listen, if I don't get out of here soon, the next news that we're gonna be reporting is my divorce.
I mean, that's fair, but Josh Dobbs ain't even signed his new lease agreement in Minneapolis yet.
Damn.
Anyways, I think this is gonna be a perfect way to wrap this up. Zeno, you got anything else to add before we go?
No. The only divorce should be the Falcons and Arthur Smith. Guys, it's been great. It's been great having you guys on and talking a whole bunch of things. Matthew Perry, football, Halloween candy, I think it was.
Halloween
Yes.
candy.
All of
We snuck in the top 5, even though we didn't have one to begin with. But
yeah. So great as usual. I can do a small dose of politics. Mike Pence dropped out of the race. I think everyone knows that by now, and it's gonna get good. So with that, I guess that's a wrap.
Hey, appreciate the time as always, guys.
Hey,
I'm
man.
glad
I
we
don't-
could
Thank you for
get you
joining
guys
us.
out of the cave.
Yes.
I'll
I
find a
don't
way to
have the
sneak.
stop button, so
I'll find a way to get Zeno to do another one soon.
I got you. I can stop it. You wanted to end it with that, Zeno?
We're good.
yeah.
Okay.
With that's a wrap, I guess. Yeah, that's a wrap.